Welcome into this Wednesday, sort of National Signing Day edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready, Clark Ford studio this right at noon, 12:38. As we are getting going today, we will, I guess, talk a little recruiting. I don't know. We'll talk some basketball. Ole Miss knocking off Tennessee 51-50, 52-51. It was one or the other.
52-50.
52-50.
It was a two-point game. The ball was in the air at the end.
That's right.
Would have won it for Tennessee.
That's right. 52-50, the final there. Ole Miss getting its first win over a top 10 team under Kermit Davis. I think it breaks some streak of not beating top 25 teams. I don't know. I saw it somewhere last night, but nonetheless, Ole Miss knocks off the Vols and moves on to a date with who's next?
At Auburn, who lost to Georgia.
That's right. Yeah. Georgia's actually won a few games here and there. They're not good, but they've won a few games.
Yeah, that was their. They and Ole Miss have the exact same SEC record, 4-6.
Oh, do they really?
Yep.
That's pretty good for Georgia, honestly. What I was anticipating.
Yeah.
They got that player in the deal and whatever,
Yeah.
but they're better.
He's good.
Yeah, but still. So anyway,
the guard for them, whose name escapes me right now, plays his ass off. Plays really hard. One of those consummate college point guards.
Mm-hmm.
Really plays hard. Kind of cheer for him sometime when you watch him play. Like, dude's completely checked in at all times.
You know, we'll talk about it in a minute. I'll tell you, the podcast brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon Highway 6 West in Oxford. Download the Speed Pass Plus app. Use it, and it will save you money by earning points there every time at the pump. You can pay right there at the pump. Move on with your day at all Blue Sky locations in Mississippi. But if you're in Oxford, also go in, take advantage of the hot and cold case, maybe get some barbecue chicken or the lunch special that's $5.69 every day, 2 sides bread, 32-ounce drink. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
Severe Wheeler. That's what I was thinking about.
Okay.
Yeah. I like watching him play.
It's a good name.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to play in the NBA or anything like that, but I like watching him play. He gives everything he's got. One of those dudes. You can tell his teammates respect the hell out of him. He plays really hard. I like that kid. There you go. You had the running back at Vanderbilt for a few years.
Ralph Webb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of this Wheeler kid. I'm kind of into.
What's weird about my deal with Vanderbilt is once I stopped, like I sort of picked up Benny Snell a little bit, but he was almost too good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like, no, that's too fancy. I don't need that.
He was a legitimate player.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, no, look, Ralph played in the NFL, but for the Patriots.
Oh, he did, didn't he?
He had nothing left, no shred left on the tires, but no, he still hung around a little bit.
Yeah,
Larry Rose the third, my boys.
They squeezed every last drop.
Vanderbilt running back in that offense, there's nothing left.
Yeah.
You are the offense.
It's like when Alabama would have like 4 tailbacks.
They haven't had a quarterback, since Jordan Rogers that's been worth a crap at all for the most part. Their starter a few years ago quit the football team to go to med school.
Yeah.
Patton Robinette. Good
call.
Oh, yeah, probably better life decision, probably. Yeah. But nonetheless, I don't know. Yeah.
We're both in the Clark Ford studios. Clark Ford, is in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900 is that number. Call it. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote, and the rest is up to you. 662-257-1900. Guest, join us on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford. Be a great place this weekend. Ole Miss at Auburn, 3 p.m. on Saturday. Be a great place to go hang out, watch that game. And then there's an NFL game on Sunday that you can go watch. There are health officials that are telling you to lay low and be cool. I'm telling you it's okay. Go to Rafters. You can sit with your friends, watch the Super Bowl.
You can.
You can enjoy burgers, po' boys.
You can.
Get some appetizers. They have a great beer selection.
You can.
And have a mimosa, whatever it is that you'd like. There at Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford and also in New Albany.
So, I'll talk some basketball, I guess. Well, really, okay, football-wise, it's 12:42.
I was going to say, let's give the people.
But here's the problem,
though.
Want. But here's the problem with that. I agree, but here's the problem.
I know.
You have this big steak over here, but hey, the chicken sandwich is damn good today. It is a really good. It has some of that St. Elmo stuff on it. Chicken sandwich, it's delectable. By the time this goes live, Tywone Malone will have done something. He will.
We assume.
Sure.
He's
somebody this morning did go. Tywone was told he didn't have to sign today. I'm like, oh shit. Like,
Yeah, I
come
know.
on. Like,
I know.
it's like, well, I mean, it's not a signing day, it's a signing period. I'm like, no, it needs to be today.
Yeah.
Today.
3 o'clock Central on ESPN.
On ESPN. Oh, really? Is it 2?
I think it's the Deuce.
I'm sure. Okay. It's been bouncing around. It was 11:30 on CBS Sports Network at one point. It was 4:30 on ESPN at one point. They're bouncing. The fact that Jimbo's press conference is at 1 o'clock means absolutely nothing for this. Nothing.
No,
I don't think Lane's even having a press conference because there's one dude.
I don't think Lane's in town.
Is he not? I don't know. I mean, they were sort of kind of ended on Trevin Wallace this morning, and then Tywone Malone. That's it for their spring February signing day, whatever you want to call it. And Wallace has been a Kentucky lean for a long time. He signed with the Wildcats this morning.
I could have saved everybody a lot of trouble on that.
Yeah. We stumbled into even more info than we realized on that about a week ago.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's down to Tywone Malone. I don't know. Tywone, to his credit, did not send papers anywhere at 8 o'clock this morning. He's just hanging out, waiting on a decision, and then he might actually be the recruit that does sign the official paper at 3 o'clock on the TV camera.
At which point we'll still have to wait for that paper to arrive
via fax machine.
And they still fax, right?
They still fax, but you don't have to fax. You can scan it and email it. There are multiple forms of delivery now that you can take part of. But yes, look, this is going to be a Thursday night conversation because I don't know. We'll see if they sign Tywone Malone. I think it's Ole Miss. I don't think he's sent anything anywhere. I think he's just surprising everybody. That's the only thing, though, because I'm so used to traditional recruiting
right,
that when it's 12:45 and a school doesn't know, you go, okay.
That's that Jeffrey Simmons day. You remember that?
Now, that was earlier in the day because we were still in the Clark Ford studio.
But it was late morning.
It was like 10:30. Yeah, it was about 10:30.
We were all at Jeffrey's condo.
We were.
The old Clark Ford studio.
Yeah.
And I look down and it's freeze.
Yeah.
Literally, as we're waiting for Jeffrey.
We're watching the stream.
We're watching the stream.
Oh, no, that's true, because it was like 11, because we had already finished the show. Okay.
And I look down and it's freeze, and I'm like, oh, this is interesting.
Because Simmons is like on air. Yeah, they're doing the National Football High School thing or whatever it is. Because he was doing it with the other dudes, right? It was like a table full of like 10 of them.
I wish I could remember all of that.
It was dudes from Noxubee County and all of, it was like it was a table full of like that area. Pretty sure. Yeah, Freeze calling, basically going, hey, what happened? Because wasn't like the feed messing up, so he couldn't.
No, Freeze says, what's he going to do?
That's right.
And I just said, well, if you don't know, then he's not coming to you. And he said, well, I hadn't heard from him, or something along those lines. And I was like, well.
And then he like picked stayed and the phone hung up.
Yeah.
Right? Wasn't that what it was?
Yeah.
Looking back, maybe a bad sign, but
yeah, looking back, that was a moment that actually I thought it was kind of a compelling moment at that time. Like, this is weird.
Who else was in that class? Was it a decent day at all?
Yeah, A.J. Brown had
gone
to Ole Miss earlier in the day.
Okay. So they'd missed on Kobe, gotten A.J., and then had obviously DK and whatever else was in the class. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
I've hit that point where I just don't remember.
You zone out. Once the class is in the barn, you're completely done.
Oh, for sure.
It's like the unfollowing on Twitter, taking the names out of the phone. Like,
yeah,
gone.
I mean,
it's like a holiday.
I throw them out. Every one of them.
You got the contacts too?
A lot of them.
I'm not as good at that. I've got like crazy old recruits that would like blow people away in my phone, like Clayton Loeb and people, where it's like, whoa.
That actually would be a funny to go through your contacts and just find some randoms and see if you could get them to come on the show.
Hey, what are you doing now?
Yeah, what's going on now? That might be an off-season project.
I mean, I think we have a lot of.
Because I have 700 and something, and I don't know that many people, so I'm not as good.
Let's see how many I have. I have 1,097.
All right, I'm looking. Hold on.
I mean, listen to this. Just in the Z's, Z Mason. Zay Lanier. Is that a recruit? It's got to be, right?
I would assume.
Zae Lanier. Zach Stout. We call Zach. I got it right here.
He'd be good.
Yeah.
I got Akeem Judd. Who's Alonzo Lawrence?
Oh, he's the defensive back from Alabama. Remember? He he and DeAndre Brown were like going at one another in the Mississippi Alabama game that year. Yeah, Lawrence was a DB from Alabama. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I got way too many.
I mean, dude.
Barry Sanders Jr. Whatever happened to him?
Where'd he go?
I don't know. We could go crazy. Anyway, it's a thought. Pick a letter.
Dad Patterson's in here.
Oh, that'd be a good podcast.
You want to hit call? You'll see what happens. Hey, Sean Patterson Sr. sitting right here.
Sean, you're live on the Oxford Exxon Podcast. It's Neal and Chase.
Yeah. How are you?
Remember we picked Vanderbilt to beat Ole Miss that day?
Yeah. Tristan Jebbia. He went to Nebraska, right?
Yeah.
Didn't Jebbia go to Nebraska?
Yeah, and the reason I say that is because Ole Miss offered the younger Jebbia just the other day because I saw that pop up in my email. I'm behind.
Okay.
I'm behind on reporting.
Ole Miss would never have been in it on him. Why do I have that in my phone? Did he come to campus or something? Trevor Lawrence
visited, or no, they offered him early because I did a story on Trevor Lawrence when he was like a 9th grader. Because I said
you're right, guys. It was Mississippi. Sorry.
Because I said something to the Rivals people about,
really?
Why am I talking to a 9th grader? And they're like, oh, no, this is not your typical 9th grader. And he wasn't. He was super sharp.
Yeah, I don't remember ever calling him or talking to him, but numbers on the phone. So
I did a story.
Okay.
He did not sign with Ole Miss.
He did not.
No.
Wasn't Z Mason like the number one tight end in the country, like through ESPN or something? Like
something
he had
like
some
that.
former other because he was a basketball player too.
Kent Austin was obsessed with Z Mason.
Was it Kent?
Yeah. And then there was the linebacker. Remember this? The linebacker from Tennessee that was involved in the rape allegation thing, and Ole Miss was going to bring him in.
Oh, what was that kid's name?
Really nice kid, but you knew it was just a mess. And Kent Austin was real worked up about that.
The kid at he went to Vanderbilt. He was in the Vanderbilt thing.
I think he ended up at Tennessee.
Oh no, are you thinking about when they thought about getting the transfer Daniel Hood?
Daniel Hood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you go back and read through those documents.
You're
and
like,
go,
you can't do that.
You just can't do that. Yeah, it was Daniel Hood. That's who it was.
Yeah.
So you got your Twitter fixed?
It appears to be fixed.
Are you tweeting from it?
No.
It's just dormant. Did you even like change your stuff back or anything?
Yeah, I changed some stuff back. I couldn't go back and change it all.
So when you got it back, did it still have like the cryptocurrency dude stuff on it?
Oh yeah.
Did it really?
Oh yeah. Yeah, like you can tell that I've kind of checked out on this a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I haven't even looked to see like how many of my tweets are still there.
The Vandy tied in.
In fact, all my tweets are gone.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah, Eric, the Vandy tight end that Ole Miss recruited that ended up in the Vandy rape stuff was Brandon Valkenberg or something like that. It was like something along those lines. It was kind of a weird name. Somebody in the thread, Ramey says in the thread that Jebbia transferred to Oregon State from Nebraska.
Okay.
So that's where he's at now.
Apparently he has a little brother who got
Jebbia?
offered recently. Yeah, or
really?
something. Or there's another Jebbia from California.
His dad played here.
I've got 4 or 5 offers that I need to report. I've got to confirm first. Whatever.
Rivals is doing a better job of that.
They're doing a much better job of confirming offers, but it's like this 24 kid, and I'm like, that's where I'm different from a lot of people. Like, oh, 24 kid, he's great. He's got multiple offers. It's like, yeah, he's a freshman in high school. Come on.
It's like it's one of the ways that like you've really been doing it a while or you're getting old. Is I remember when they did that with DK back in the day. Like when he committed to Ole Miss as like an 8th grader or got the offer or whatever, and we're like, okay, sure, fine. I'm still 5 years away from this mattering, and now he's.
I think I did the 2. Eric Jernigan says, "Please, for the love of all things holy, turn on 2-factor authentication." I don't even know how to do that. I think I did.
You did it on the other account for sure, because I got a notification about that.
On the Rebel Grove one?
Yeah.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, how about that?
Or at least a link to do it or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know how to do all the stuff. Anyway, I haven't decided if I'm even gonna. I mean, this would be the perfect opportunity to just kill it. I mean, every tweet that I ever tweeted has been deleted.
So it's a blank account.
Yeah, I mean, I've still got all the followers, and I'm still following people, which is bizarre that he didn't go change all that too. But
that's labor intensive.
But
So was tweeting like 7,000 times at 5:30 this morning, though.
Isn't that funny? I didn't get any of those.
Oh, you didn't?
I didn't know that was. He must have already had blocked me.
Okay. Oh, he blocked the Rebel Grove account?
Because I sent him a message from the Rebel Grove account.
Oh, was it nice?
Generally.
Okay.
And then he blocked me.
Okay. How do you know it was a he?
Because I've listened to his YouTube show and it's male.
Oh, you know who it is? You think you know who it is?
I have an idea that I don't know who's behind it, but yeah.
Okay. So yeah,
really,
anyway.
It's a weird feeling, by the way, when someone has access to your complete account. I mean, there was nothing in there that I was like worried about, but at the same time,
it's just unsettling.
It's very unsettling.
Yeah.
You kind of feel violated. What was funny was all the people that are like, "Ha ha, LOL." I'm like, how's this funny? This isn't funny to me at all. I don't think they understood that not only was the account hacked, the person had gone in and in very short order changed the retrieval information and everything. Like there was nothing I could do.
Oh yeah.
And everybody kept saying, well, just change your password. I'm like, well, if it were that easy.
Yeah, duh, okay.
And then the other one was just call them. There's no one to call.
There's no one to call.
And so it was kind of changed my view on Twitter a lot. Like I went from, like, I don't know that
You're seemingly favorable.
I'm on a 1 to 10 with 1 being I hate it and 10 being I love it. I'm no more than a 4 right now.
Okay.
And I don't think if I can get back to a 5, I think I'm just going to kill it.
Okay. Fair. You know, what's funny about today is just the way December's changed things. Because, look, even it's not as intense. But, I mean, it's National Signing Day. It's February 3rd. 1 player, no players, whatever Malone does. Got up this morning. There was no reason to get up early. There was no reason to do anything. There was no reason to put a bunch of threads out. It was just hanging out. Normal day. It's essentially one dude making a commitment today. That's what today is.
Well, that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, the graphic that we have in our email says signed instead of committed. That's it.
Well, and there's no...
I have an A&M one, too. I don't know.
Do you?
Well, yeah, we got both.
I haven't even looked at it.
Yeah, they sent us Ole Miss and A&M.
I saw the email.
If it's Florida State, they're screwed. They have no graphic.
Yeah, I saw the email. I hadn't looked at it.
Yeah, it's Rebels and Aggies.
Okay.
That'd be good one day. I could really freak people out on Twitter. Go through all the ones Ole Miss didn't get and just start publishing their images.
Yeah.
Yeah. So-and-so committed. Damnedest thing. You could screw with other fan bases. Like, it'd be really fun to mess with, like, Mississippi State or Tennessee Twitter. Like, send out the A.J. Brown State one. Stuff like that. So, anyway. We'll talk a little basketball in a minute, I guess. We'll do that after I tell you about Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Stoughton County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. They're getting local underwriting. Understands your market. A leader in condo financing, the float down option, and more. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
We're also brought to you by Lammon's Fine Jewelry in Oxford. Lammon's located at 1126 North Lamar Boulevard in Oxford. They've been serving the Oxford area for 73 years. Engagement rings, wedding rings, fine jewelry, watches, pearls, fashion jewelry, children's jewelry, and more. Lammon's is the gold standard in fine jewelry. LammonsFineJewelry.com or call them at 662-234-2777. We're also brought to you by Comer Heating and Air. That's the name you can trust. More than 50 years of professional HVAC experience in Oxford, Tupelo, and the surrounding area. Get in touch with them. Make sure your heating system is running in tip-top shape. 662-801-1777 for all of your heating and cooling needs. We're also brought to you by the College Corner. It's one-stop Rebel Shop, 2 locations in the Jackson area. In Ridgeland, it's next to Fleet Feet. In Flowood, it's next to Half Shell. If you don't live in Jackson, it's okay. Go to collegecornerstore.com. Plus, you can visit them on Facebook and Instagram. Also brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. Pinnacle Trust, based in Madison, Mississippi. Clients in more than 20 states, advisors in multiple states as well. Founded in 1997, Pinnacle Trust provides detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much more. At Pinnacle Trust, investing is treated like a commodity. Decisions are made using objective information and research, not emotions. It's pintrust.com, PINNtrust.com. Mention you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the podcast. You'll get 10% off your first year's fees. And don't forget, if you're thinking about traveling this summer, maybe you want to do that golf trip. Stream Song in Florida is an example. Great deals to be had right now. If you just want to get away, you want to go someplace that's kind of opened up, get in touch with John. There are those deals out there to be had, and you can get them today. All you got to do is get in touch with him, give him some parameters, give him a budget, and he'll give you a list of options that you're probably not going to be aware of. probably not going to find on your own. 901-494-3387 or send him an email at jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients save $50 off their first book trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast.
Podcast is brought to you by Tyson Drugs and G&M Pharmacy. You can find those guys on South Lamar in Oxford or in Holly Springs on the square for Tyson Drugs, 662-236-2222. They deliver locally in the Oxford area, so take advantage of that. They also offer MedSync to fill your prescriptions the same day each month, so you have everything when you need it. You can make one stop inside or have one delivery to get everything that you need. So again, take advantage of all their different options with Tyson Drugs or G&M, 662-236-2222. So, yeah, 52-50 last night. Ole Miss knocking off Tennessee at the Pavilion. And we talked about the line yesterday. We talked about Vegas. I mean, when it looks like they know something, trust them to know something. That is a Vegas rule.
Yes.
One is if a line looks too good to be true, it is. Go the other way. Don't be an idiot. Ole Miss played really well. Ole Miss, especially in the second half, played well. And Ole Miss in the second half had more energy. They got to more loose balls. They did a lot of things athletically, just from a hustle standpoint, that they haven't always done all season, and they outdid Tennessee in those things. It was also the game that if you said, hey, Ole Miss is going to knock off one of these teams at the top of the league, Tennessee is absolutely the one you would pick because they don't play offense very well. They get games into the 50s sometimes, and Ole Miss is going to win a 52-50 sloppy game a whole lot more than they're going to win a game in the 70s or in the high 60s even sloppy game.
Did you see the crazy stat?
What was the crazy stat?
The craziest stat. I didn't realize it. And when I saw it, I went, oh, wow, I should have known that. That was the first game decided by single digits that Ole Miss won.
Well, that's a bad stat for Ole Miss.
Yeah, but it tells you that they lose close games.
Yes, I'm saying. Yeah. Also, somebody didn't score for like 12 minutes in this game or something weird.
I think Tennessee didn't score for 12 minutes.
They were 1 for their last 14 from the field at the end of the game.
And they didn't get many good looks.
They were 5 of 20 in the second half.
Ole Miss really defended well because
Yeah.
Ole Miss still didn't shoot much. I don't have the box in front of me. I guess you do.
Yeah.
What did Ole Miss shoot last night?
39.2%. 25% from 3, 64% from the line. 20 of 51 from the field, 3 of 12 from 3, 9 of 14 from the line.
What were turnovers?
Turnovers. Ole Miss had 17 and Tennessee had 16.
If you tell me Ole Miss would only score 50 points and they turn it over 17 times, I would have said, woo.
They got beat 68-50 or something like that.
I would have thought ugly.
But Tennessee, 35% from the field, 16 of 45. They did shoot 42% from 3, 8 of 19. I mean, Ole Miss is just god-awful behind the behind the three-point line. And then Tennessee, 10 of 16, 62.5% from the free throw line.
Yeah, Mark Angelo points out in the thread the dunk that Rodriguez had. That was big time. That was a Terrence Davis dunk. That, as he says, that claimed a body.
Buffin was there. Coach's decision did not play. Kermit said dealing with something, right?
Personal stuff.
Yeah, something.
Whatever. Yeah,
whatever word we're using.
I don't know what that means. Was happy for Luis to see him play as well as he played. I mean, I thought Devontae played well. I thought they Ole Miss just can't score. I mean, we've been doing this for a while now. They just can't score. But when they turn it on defensively, they can stay in games. And like you said, Tennessee is not a terrible matchup in that regard.
No, Tennessee's kind of a rock fight team.
I didn't think Fulkerson played all that well. I didn't think Yves Pons played all that well. They were fine. Tennessee needs those guys to play at a higher level.
Pons was in foul trouble. He had 4 for a while.
Yeah, he was in foul trouble, and that affected them. I think if that doesn't happen, they probably hang on.
Yeah, Fulkerson only gives them 8 and 4 last night in 29 minutes.
Ole Miss did a good job on him, and did a good job on Pons. Ole Miss played really well on the defensive end. They were very active. That's what they have to be. They played some lineups with Hadim C. and Romello White at the same time. I thought those were effective, especially on defense. I thought it kind of junked the lane a little bit, which is not what Tennessee's used to. Tennessee's used to sort of having its way in the lane, and that created some issues for them that may not have been on their scouting report. And then once the game gets late like that, and Ole Miss made some plays.
Devontae hit a couple big shots. They had some stuff, and
Well, the one thing Ole Miss really did, even at the end when Devontae missed the shot that would have iced it.
Mm-hmm.
They, by God, got the shots to the right people.
Yeah. Ran the offense through Romello at times last night.
They did. They ran it through Romello more, let him take shots, let him stay on the floor after he missed some shots.
I mean, he gave him 14 and 6 last night, but he's 5 of 9 from the field. He hit four of his 5 from the free throw line, played 32 minutes. Good line.
It's a solid line. Yeah.
Really good line.
One of the questions in the thread is Daniel Cotto says, is this a turning point or just a lucky win? Well, it's not a lucky win.
But it's also not a turning point.
But, yeah, we're not – I mean, turning to what?
They won a specific type of game. You can't make runs without being able to win multiple types of games.
So they go to Auburn Saturday and they play – we'll talk about it more later in the week. But they go to Auburn and they play an Auburn team that wants to play fast. Sharif Cooper at the point. Auburn likes to run. It's a totally different style of game. Can you lock in defensively against Auburn? Because if you can lock in defensively against Auburn, you can win, but they can't beat Auburn the way Georgia beat Auburn last night. Georgia got into the 90s. I don't think Ole Miss is capable of getting into the 90s.
But Ole Miss has probably got to win a game in at least the high 60s against Auburn.
Probably got to get into the 60s, yes, but you got to hold Auburn to 60 points.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
So it's...
Yeah, you're not winning 83-81.
Yeah.
You're just not. You're not going to make enough shots.
Right. So is it a turning point? Here's what it does tell you. The kids aren't quitting on him.
No.
Which does say something. No, it doesn't say something. It says a hell of a lot for Kermit, for his staff. That they had a really bad week last week. Bad. That was uninspired.
Not as bad as it gets.
That was uninspired in Athens. And they come back from that on a Tuesday and play well. And his teams, and I haven't done the math on it, but his teams don't typically play great on Tuesday nights.
Oh. That's a thing?
It's a thing.
Okay.
So, they probably took a day off and just had one day of prep, and who knows? So it's they're not the team that I thought they would be, and then KJ doesn't play. They turned it over 17 times and they beat Tennessee. I mean, I wouldn't, if you told me all those things, I'd have been like, hey, no way. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be an expert on it. And to be honest with you, Chase, I didn't think I was going to write anything about it. I mean, after the Georgia loss the other day, everybody was like, do not write.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, well, I don't want to get yelled at for writing, so I was just going to kind of back off and let the video play. And by the time I realized, oh, my God, Ole Miss might win this game, it's midway through the second half, and I'm not going to sit down at that point and try to reconstruct covering it.
Well, there was two spots, too, and I don't have the play-by-play up in front of me, but where Ole Miss got in the same situation they've been in before, where you get behind early without the ability to generate points, and you got to figure out how you're going to get back in it. And they were able to do that twice last night.
They were down 11 once.
They were down 26-15 at one point, I guess, first half.
Which feels like a massive hill at that point for them.
For two reasons. A, the way they score, and B, because you knew the game wasn't getting into the 60s. So, hey, that's a lot of points. I mean, because what I'm getting to is they were in the same situation in the second half, maybe halfway through or more, and they were down 42-35, I think, is what it was. Well, when it's 42-35 with like 8 to go, 7 points feels like 28 points. That's 3 possessions where just nothing's going in and there are problems, and they went on a little run there. They really found some energy at that point to kind of go take the game because Tennessee didn't lead again after 42-41. So Ole Miss went on a 7-8, 9-0 run right there and kind of took it from there.
Benny Boy with the super chat says your opinions on who Ole Miss's starting DBs are to begin 21.
Jalen Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan's one for sure. Otis Reese is one for sure.
Finley?
Yeah, I think Finley probably has earned a start. Look, they went out and signed, 8 DBs?
Yeah. This is to begin the year.
Yeah.
And I think anything else is open from there.
Yeah.
I mean, Jalen's coming back. And he's got to play a certain position, so.
Yeah, one of the questions earlier was about Nigel Knott. I mean,
he's on the roster and you'll see what he has, but I can't pencil him into that right now.
Yeah. He's walking on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, That's as good a guess as any.
I would anticipate a lot of guys getting.
Springer's kind of in that thing too. Like I just don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Keydron's going to be in the conversation. Yeah, Pete. They've got more dudes. Get Otis for a full year is a huge thing. I mean, he made a considerable points difference to that team last year. Those last 2 games he played in. I mean, there's no doubt about that. So,
wait to see if I saw something I didn't.
Did you?
No. Yes, I don't know anything about Springer. That's the thing. I'll freely admit this. We didn't see a practice. Not one. It was one of the reasons when people would say, well, what do you think Otis Reese's impact is going to be? I don't know. We haven't seen him practice. I mean, we hear things, but I didn't even really hear much about Springer last year. I don't sometimes, and a lot of people don't want us to even say this, and a lot of people that in our business would not admit this out loud. We don't know these coaches very well. Mm-hmm. We've only met them in person like one time. The pandemic hit before anything really happened. We haven't even had those like casual spring practices where we're out there and a coach might come up to you and be like, hey, what's up? Who are you?
The longest we've talked to Lane Kiffin was on the podcast that day.
Yeah. Well, we had that lunch thing with him that was 20-something minutes.
And the coordinators.
Yeah. And I had a quasi-personal conversation with one of the coordinators about his kid was getting into dance, and I was like, I can give you some suggestions. Seriously. I know something about that.
Yeah.
That's what we talked about. And then the pandemic hits, and so there's no way to build on those relationships. And so the truth is there's no real ability to reach out to certain people and hey, tell me a little bit about this position. What's going on there? No way to know. We saw the same things you guys saw.
They're mentioning him in the thread. What do you think I know you don't know the answer to this, but it's podcast fodder. I think the ceiling is now for Mark Britt. Think it's still simply a light bulb, get in there kind of deal, or what?
Probably. I mean, I've heard different things about Clowney, for example, that
needs weight.
But people feel like there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah.
How long does it take to gain that weight? How long does it take to do those things? For a guy like Britt, we make jokes about schemes and stuff, but it is more cerebral at the college level than it is the high school level. You can't just get away with nothing but athleticism, with rare exception. So, he wasn't ready. People say, why didn't he play? He wasn't ready to play. That's why he didn't play. Now, in a normal year where you had some access at practice and, you kind of got to know a few coaches where you could say, hey, how come Britt's not playing? Mm-hmm. You might get a little bit of insight. We don't have that. So until we get that, it's kind of hard to dive deep into it. It's one of the reasons when people do and I realize it's a joke, the depth chart thing. Like, why do you have it? Because we're not out there. I can't put together a depth chart. I don't really know what it looks like.
At all.
I don't think they knew what it looked like until late August, early September. And even then, I think it was the risk of creating another firestorm of jokes. For whatever reason, this word's funny, but I think it was pretty fluid. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've heard there's real concern inside the program about offensive line. A lot of numbers, a lot of quantity, not a lot of quality. Real worry about it. It's one of the wild cards going into next season. They stayed real healthy up front.
No, they had 2012 luck up front.
What happens if you lose a couple of guys up front? What happens if you have to shuffle? Do you have the depth to do it? They have some bodies there, but do you believe in them? I know they really like Eli Acker. They like a couple of the young guys.
You hope McIntyre keeps developing.
But there's a few of those young guys that I'm told that there's real concern about whether they can play at this level. And so they don't – you can't – it goes back to the Tennessee football conversation. Once your roster gets gutted, you can't rebuild it overnight. You have to rebuild it incrementally. And so they did a lot of focus on defensive backs this past year because they knew they had to get more length and athleticism in the back. So at some point, you got to go get some offensive linemen. You got to figure things out. And in the way that as we talked about yesterday, the way that the rules are set up, you can't just process, hey, these 8 guys suck. Bye, we'll bring in 8 new ones. It doesn't work like that. Nor should it work like that.
Yeah, sure. Oh. Yeah, you definitely don't have room for that. You're stuck with your dudes. Develop them, and over time, maybe can find some more dudes and make it work out. But it's a slow build. I mean, it's the thing's hampering Lane on, hey, I'm going to go get players from everywhere. You can do that to an extent, but
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
There's a salary cap. There's a roster cap. There's a deal.
He's capped out at some point. You can't just go get 12 dudes unless you can get guys to walk on.
Yeah.
Which is hard.
You are seeing a few more interesting cases as time goes on.
You're going to see a lot of creativity when it comes to that.
Yeah.
And the NCAA is going to dig into a lot of that. So you've got to make sure that that's done in a way that
A, is it okay, and B, is it worth the squeeze?
Yeah, because they're going to come. They're going to come investigate if you suddenly have 9 starters walking on.
Hey,
kind of curious how that's working. How do you do that? So you got to make sure that you've done it in a way that
is okay.
Passes a smell test.
Yeah. Podcast brought to you in part by NE Spark. That's Northeast Spark, standing for service people across rural communities. 2 packages, the Ignite package, 100 Mbps, or the Blaze, 1 gig. It powers the Clark Ford studio for this here podcast. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. NESpark.com, 662-238-3159. Phone service also available, as well as parental controls, network security, and more. Give them a call, see if they're in your area, because they are. Let them install it for you with the Blaze or the Ignite packages. NESpark.com, 662-238-3159.
We're also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. Go to GrenadaNissanUSA.com to learn more. We're also brought to you by Oxford University Bank, OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money,
Whatever, nothing.
Did you get a text or something?
You did too.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Sorry. Whatever. Podcast also brought to you by OUB. When you deposit money,
we're not freaking out 198 people at all right now.
Jesus. That money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB gives you the comfort of home, all the benefits the big mega banks provide, all the technology and products you can want, all with the personal touch. Forgive me, everybody at OUB.
Yeah. It is what it is.
It is what it is. They have a commercial checking account now paying 1% interest as long as you keep $10,000 in the account. It comes with fully interactive online banking. To learn more, go to liveoxfordbankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured. My mailbag's up today. Lots of questions, including who's the worst president ever. Apparently my answer was not common. Regardless, you can read all of that at rebelgrove.com. It's brought to you by Whitney McNutt, Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors, serving you for all your real estate needs in Oxford and Tupelo. Whitney sells condos, land, commercial, residential family homes. 662-567-2573 or 662-842-3844. And we're brought to you by the law firm of Bain, Moss & Bowen, located in historic downtown Corinth. Their firm practices a wider range of law, from DUI defense to car wrecks to representing government entities. Bain, Moss & Bowen is the only firm in Mississippi made up of a sitting state legislator, a former assistant district attorney, and a former circuit court judge. That experience is unmatched in that regard. You can tap into it by visiting them at 618 East Waldron Street in Corinth, or by calling them at 662-287-1620.
I'm not going to try to decipher that last one. Use that one.
I'm pulling it up now.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing in that.
Nope.
I don't know.
Nope.
You understood that one better than last night, though.
Yeah, because I asked you last night if you could translate. And you started laughing. I'm like,
well. Anyway, sorry, people.
I said Buchanan was the worst president in history.
How'd you get to that? Did you look it up?
No.
Okay, you just.
Well, I really enjoyed that podcast over the course of the last year.
Oh, yeah, you listened to all of them.
Yeah. And I'd read a lot about Buchanan. A lot of the things that Buchanan did sort of, in my opinion, led to some of the Civil War issues that we had. Like, it's real easy to hit on some of the other guys, but I mean, we can tell lots of jokes about January the 6th, but January 6th pales in comparison to the Civil War.
Sure, of course.
The Civil War is the worst moment of our nation's history.
Yeah.
I mean, we literally killed each other.
Yeah. For 4 years, 5 years.
For 5 years. What's really fascinating is go back to the Lincoln administration, and 3 years into the Lincoln administration, had there been cable television, every single day, CNN, Fox News, everybody would have been talking about what a horrible president Lincoln was. Yeah. Lincoln himself wrote in his diary about doing what was right because he knew he was going to lose re-election. Only when the war began to turn in 1964 did Lincoln truly believe he was going to make up ground. He was way behind in what would be considered the polls in the first part of his fourth year.
He was a Jeopardy category a few days ago. Some interesting stuff about his earlier life prior to the
Lincoln
presidency a little bit. Yeah, the 5 questions were a little more geared toward before the presidency.
Really fascinating.
It's one of the bigger dork things I've discovered is there's an account on YouTube that will put up, it's a couple days late, but like whatever, but they put up the most recent Jeopardy episodes just like commercial free on YouTube. So at night I'll just like flip through them in like 19 minutes and just like run through the Jeopardy thing real quick. So I've seen pretty much all of Ken Jennings' guest host shows by this point. So he got more comfortable as it went. It's going okay. Like I still want him to get the full-time gig.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean, no one's going to be Alex Trebek. It's not possible. So don't try.
Yeah.
Get somebody like him who loves the game, who appreciates the game.
Well known. Ratings stayed up.
Has some personality.
Yeah. Smart. Because
brilliant.
Well, yeah. Because a lot of times, I mean, that's not on his cue card. If somebody like misses something or he always adds to the answer. He's like, yeah, so-and-so's whatever. And he's like, doing that whole deal. Because Trebek did that a good bit. That was kind of one of his deals. Aaron Rodgers gets to guest host here soon. He's on the list.
Be interesting.
He won Celebrity Jeopardy maybe. Rodgers is like a huge Jeopardy buff. Obviously, he's not in it for the full-time gig, but
yeah.
They're doing, I forget how many it is. It's like 6 or 7 different guest hosts. Somebody from 60 Minutes is one of them. There's several that are doing it over the course of the next few months prior to them making a final decision.
Rodgers has made some enemies in the media world.
Yes.
See where Nancy Armour went after Tom Brady today?
I did, yeah. Well, I saw when she asked the question the other day during the press conference. I didn't see what she wrote. I saw the question.
She said today that Tom Brady's saying, hey, I'm just sticking to sports right now, basically. I'm just doing my job, is white privilege. She referred to that as white privilege. She said that's a privilege that black and brown athletes don't have.
Not everybody speaks out. I mean, that's your choice. Yes or no?
I don't like going back in time and persecuting people because they had a friendship with somebody or once supported a candidate. That doesn't feel American to me.
It's kind of really inside golf, but golf's dealing with it right now because the European Tour, I think, went into Saudi Arabia and like all of their human atrocities. And should you go be playing there? Should you not? What have you said in the past? It's getting brought back up. There's a lot of stuff kind of going on with golf right now with that.
Someone says, who's the craziest out of left field candidate in 2024?
Well, I mean, that has a legitimate chance?
Oh, that's a good question.
I mean,
would it be somebody who? Because
now, look, if you told me Dave Portnoy ran for president in 2024, sure. Now, has he have any chance in the hell of winning? No. But
he wouldn't want to win.
Well, no, he just wants to. Well, that's kind of how it started with Trump. But anyway, I get it.
Yeah, but the more you dig into Trump, the more that Trump really flirted with running against Obama.
Yeah. It was in the thing.
Yeah.
I heard it.
Yeah.
He in 12 or 8.
12.
The 12? Okay.
Yeah, so he the idea of running for president was something that percolated in his brain for a lot longer than people realized. So I think he was more serious about it than maybe we all thought at first.
And if you don't win, there's a secondary benefit, and it is what it is, and you go back to your day job.
What I'd love to know is did Trump, not was he serious, but did Trump really, when he first started running, did he really want to win?
Right.
How much of his victory, how much of his momentum in 2016, how often did he look at it and go, okay, boy, we're kind of hitting the point of no return here? I do wonder that. And I know the way his ego is, I'm suspecting that he loved it and kept going. But I do wonder if there was a point early when he went, oh, this has gone further than I thought it would go. Because I do think initially the plan was to turn it into TV ratings, to turn it into more money.
Sure, yeah.
Because, hey, look, the following is an indictment of all of the television people in this regard. They literally spared no expense giving him all of the attention from both parties.
Sure.
Even Hillary Clinton had a hard time getting on the television early in 2016 because if Trump was somewhere, they cut away because Trump meant ratings. CNN is winning the ratings war right now, and their ratings are down 44%.
Oh, really?
And they're winning. So it tells you what everybody else is doing.
Hemorrhaging.
Yeah, it's bleeding. Yeah. So I don't know who it would be. I mean, some of the names that get thrown around, Tucker Carlson gets thrown around. That seems too fringy for me. I don't know.
Does the average Republican watch Fox News every day?
I don't know. I mean,
look, I don't think Tucker Carlson's the next president or even the Republican nominee, but he
has a powerful voice.
He's the host of the biggest TV news program in the world.
He's got a power.
I don't know about the country.
He's got a powerful voice. I think it's going to be a fresh candidate for both parties.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to believe that Joe Biden's running for re-election in 4 years. It's difficult for me to imagine. The guy that you look at on television 4 years from now is up to running another campaign.
No, if you tell me who's the Democratic nominee in 24, I'd say it's Kamala Harris.
You think so?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, her likability numbers will have to change, or they'll have to push her out.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
What?
Moneybag Ty says DeSantis, but DeSantis is not an out of left field candidate. DeSantis might even be an even money favorite right now to get the Republican nomination. It's a long way away, and a lot's going to change. But if you were to start the process today, he would absolutely be on the short list.
Mm-hmm. Sean Payton today gives a little bit away. He says, I'm reading here from Mike Triplett, the New Orleans Saints coach didn't try to cloak the team's desire to re-sign free agent Jameis Winston if Drew Brees retires as expected. Payton spoke glowingly about Winston to ESPN and other media outlets while doing some Super Bowl week appearances on Wednesday, saying the Saints would like to re-sign Winston sooner than later. He specifically told CBS's Pick Six podcast he expects Brees to make an announcement in the next week or two. Payton has been saying for weeks he thinks the Saints' next quarterback is already in the building, a reference that includes both Winston and Taysom Hill, and reiterated on Wednesday the Saints have a, quote, pretty good vision for both players. It was notable that Payton mentioned Winston first and talked about him in greater detail when asked about the Saints' future quarterback plans by ESPN's Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin show and NFL Network's Good Morning Football show, saying it was an easy question. So,
well, look, with Brees gone, Payton can even be more creative, drive you crazy, and drive Saints fans crazy, but he can do more Taysom Hill stuff. He can do even more of that. He can run him for series at a time. For Jameis Winston doesn't have the what's the word I'm looking for? The gravitas is the word that comes to mind. That's
cachet.
The cachet. Thank you. To get upset at Hill playing.
Yeah.
I mean, he can't look over at Sean Payton and be like, "Hey, man, you remember the Super Bowl we won?"
Yeah.
And he'll be happy to be the starter.
Yeah.
And the other thing what we don't know, again, along the lines of you didn't see practice. There's no telling. Look, Sean Payton's a hell of a quarterback's coach. Look what he did with Romo in Dallas. Look what he did with Brees all these years. Look what he's done with Taysom Hill. Look what he's done with Teddy Bridgewater.
He got Teddy paid.
If you told me that middle of October, Jameis Winston in practice was turning heads and that they didn't play Jameis Winston because they didn't want everybody to see the heads turn.
Romero's conspiracy theory. He and I have talked about this a lot.
We haven't had this conversation.
No.
And I don't blame the Saints.
Minimized his...
Well, Teddy Bridgewater, the truth is,
Yeah.
Teddy Bridgewater played too well to wait for Drew Brees.
Yeah.
Teddy Bridgewater came in and was good, and by the end of that stint, really good.
Yeah.
I remember they played the Bears with Bridgewater, and it was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Who's this guy? And so if you told me that Jameis Winston, who's got just oodles of talent, if you told me that Sean Payton was working with him and looking at film and things were coming along, and he's like, hey, this pick's because of this, and all of a sudden those picks start disappearing and better decisions are getting made, and the talent popped, and Peyton said, you know what? 2 things. 1, I don't want the world to see this. And 2, I've always wanted to do this Hill thing, and I got a chance to do it, and I'm going to get my jollies right now. And it worked. They're fine. The Saints did not make it to the Super Bowl because of those few weeks.
No.
I'd buy that. And a lot of people would call that a conspiracy thing. I don't think that's a conspiracy. That was the Saints protecting their investment.
They downplayed his value.
Because he knew Drew was leaving after the season.
Yeah.
He said, hey, we can – Jameis Winston's still going to get paid, but it prevented Jameis Winston from blowing up where a team goes, hey, you know what, screw it. We'll sign him to whatever.
Well, look, there was forethought even in the beginning. You don't sign Jameis Winston unless you're at least contemplating the idea. He's not the typical backup quarterback you're just bringing in for the hell of it.
Right.
You had to at least go, hey, let's see what this dude's got. Put him in a uniform. Get a year or 2 out of it and see what it looks like.
Well, Jameis Winston had just watched what happened with Teddy Bridgewater.
Mm-hmm.
And Jameis Winston knew, hey, I can blame whoever I want, but my stock's down.
Yeah.
Where can I go and repair it?
I got the ability and I got the arm, so.
And you go and be a good teammate for a year. And I'm sure that's what it was. Hey, all you got to do is do this for 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you that this podcast is brought to you by Alpha Specialties, located at 1670 Highway 80 in Pearl, Mississippi. It's your trailer-specific professional. They've got Load Trail, the premium brand trailer, the highest quality utility equipment dump and gooseneck trailer being built today. They've also got Hallmark cargo trailers, one of the most quality cargo trailers on the market, perfect for hauling goods to markets and shows, ATVs to deer camps, hauling race cars, and much more. 601-938-9798 or alphaofms.com. Also brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Raw denim jeans, custom fit and hand-tailored in Tupelo, Mississippi. One size fits one at BlueDeltaJeans.com. They've been advertising with us for 2 years. We've always directed you to DM them to set up a time to get measured, but now, whether you're coming to Oxford or not, you can go to BlueDeltaJeans.com to get measured by their new virtual tailor. Design your own jeans. For our podcast listeners, enter discount code Rebel Grove, all lowercase, at checkout. Rebel Grove, all lowercase, at checkout. Get 10% off your order. They're the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. You'll love yours too. The Oxford Exxon Podcast also brought to you by The Rogue. The Rogue is your destination for fine men's clothing. They've got all the best items from Peter Millar, Martin Dingman, Jack Victor, Halsey, Duckhead, True Grit, and more. 4450 I-55 North in Jackson or at therogue.com.
Podcast also brought to you by Visit Oxford. Visit oxfordms.com. Go to the events page and see what's going on every single week locally. Also, places to eat, places to stay, and do and see and more. So, again, you can find out that at visitoxfordms.com/events. Sorry, just checking a couple threads on the board real quick. Yeah.
Everything's still sober and sane?
Yeah, I'm monitoring a couple, but it's okay. When there's nothing in the vacuum finds things to do. So.
Chase has heard me say this many, many times. I'll share it with you guys. In the wake of nothing, in the wake of no news, people create news. That doesn't make the news true. It just makes it rumor.
silence is not going to exist. Something is going to.
Well, there are too many people who are unwilling to say the words, I don't know. Or here's what I think, but I don't know. It's like right now, I think at 1:33 that Tywone Malone's going to sign with Ole Miss.
87 minutes away.
I think he's going to sign with Ole Miss. But if your question is, do you know he's going to sign with Ole Miss? No, I do not.
And if he signs with A&M, I'll go, okay.
Yeah. Would I be shocked if he signed with A&M? No. Would I be surprised? Maybe a little. But do I know? I don't know. I don't know. And I'm in contact with people who I think would know, and they don't know. So I don't know. And those are big words that a lot of people in our field just will not do because their egos won't allow them to do it. And I'm not throwing anybody in particular under the bus. This is our network, the other network, all over the place. Those are big words that a lot of people in journalism don't like to say because they have put their entire identity around being the source of information.
Jared Goff, his quote to the LA Times after being traded to the Detroit Lions as the quarterback, the guy that had arguably the most important position on the field. If you're in a place where you're not wanted and they want to move on from you, then the feeling is mutual. You don't want to be in the wrong place. It became increasingly clear that was the case. So very fair quote there by Jared Goff.
Sure.
Moves on to Detroit. Rams play the Lions this year.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah. We get the football, baseball version of the former, Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas were friends. Clayton Kershaw and Matt Stafford were on the same soccer team growing up. So we've
oh, wow.
Yeah, we're going to get a lot of that coming in. I did find it interesting. Maybe they did it later. I didn't see. But a couple days after Goff was traded, Rams' Instagram account that I follow for some reason, they still had not sent out like a thanks Jared Instagram, which I found interesting.
Oh,
You would think that would mean he led them to the Super Bowl.
It's like the Rockies sent out this series of tweets praising Nolan Arenado on his way out the door. Did you watch any of that?
Yeah.
The Rockies press conference?
Oh, no.
Oof.
Get eviscerated?
Just so, I don't know how you turn around and go, hey, come to our games and buy tickets.
Mm-hmm. We're getting rid of him and paying for it.
We're going to pay his salary next year, and we got back a handful of dudes. We're broke, basically.
I didn't see this. We saw the other couple quotes, but I did not see these Rams quotes. So Sean McVay, right after the loss to the Packers, somebody asked him if Goff is the quarterback, and his quote was, "Yeah, he's our quarterback right now."
Yeah, right now.
And then the other one from Les Snead, he would not commit to Goff's long-term future with the team during a video conference, telling reporters, Jared Goff is a Ram right now. So what's the date? January 26th. Writing clearly on the wall there. Not even trying to beat around whatsoever. So fascinated. Dylan is not very happy with Matt Stafford, but we'll see what transpires.
I think Dylan's going to be pleasantly surprised.
You're a little more.
Well, I've watched more NFC North than Dylan has, and Stafford kept the Lions in games. They suck. Poorly run organization, and he makes plays.
And it's clear what the Rams are doing. We have 2 or 3 years to make a Super Bowl. We have this nucleus of players. We're trying to win right now.
Yeah.
We'll worry about tomorrow.
It's buying a used pickup truck, but it's buying a used pickup truck that can still move things. Has good tires.
Go out on the farm.
It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Might not look like it once looked, but it's going to perform. I'm just telling you, I think Stafford's going to be all right.
Yeah. John Morant was on that team too. Good. That's the joke that never stops.
I know it's constant. Did you know? Yeah, kind of heard that. I was aware. Sometimes I just want to go, really?
Oh, gosh. I haven't seen what all the national reporters are doing today. What are they doing? What's 40 and Wolken and those guys doing today?
I don't know.
This is about the time they'd be getting their shrimp cocktail from Elmo's. The mock tournament stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We're kind of in that area.
Can't do that this year.
You think they'll still do it if it's Zoom? Because they don't get the perks if it's Zoom. So do they have any interest?
Probably not. They'll probably all be like, oh, no, can't do that.
Dates just don't quite line up.
I got a thing I got to do. Did you see some of the baseball layoffs at Yahoo? Some of the baseball writers?
Are they really?
Oof.
A lot?
Yeah, some big names.
Big ones?
Big names. Oz, Tim Brown. You know the baseball card guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he got laid off.
Really?
Yeah. Got a couple hours notice.
So, Little Rock is still winning to the point that Arkansas is only playing 2 SEC games in Fayetteville this year. Did I see that right?
Oh, I didn't see that.
A couple days ago, I thought I saw that.
I thought they announced something totally different today, like 5 games in Little Rock over the course of the next 4 years.
Oh, is that little?
Yeah, they're trying to get out of there.
Well, I assume so, but I mean that's been like a Hatfield and McCoy, those 2 cities fighting one another inside the Arkansas ecosystem.
But I don't think that can work anymore, from what I've seen. I mean, that stadium in Little Rock's kind of worn down, and the stadium in Fayetteville's pretty nice.
They've done a good job with Reynolds Razorback.
They've done a really good job with it, and then you can't bring recruits to Little Rock the way you can bring them to Fayetteville. And why would you even mess with that?
1, 2, 3, 4. No, well, it's a little bit of a caveat, but I am right. There are only 2 Fayetteville SEC games this year, but it's because it's their home game with A&M that's in Dallas.
Okay.
And they play Missouri in Little Rock.
Oh, wow.
So they are down to only 2 SEC games.
Now, they do
in
get University of
Fayetteville.
Texas in Fayetteville this year.
They do, yes.
Yeah.
That's correct.
So they have
Another big game.
3 big games.
Rice, Texas, Georgia Southern, Auburn, Pine Bluff, State. That's it.
That's it. So they have 6 in Fayetteville, 1 in Arlington, 1 in Little Rock, and then 4 SEC road games.
And then not another. They don't have a home game at all after November 6th.
Oh, wow.
They're on the road the 13th and 20th, and then play in Little Rock on the 27th.
So I think the announcement today was that the Missouri game after this year will go back to Fayetteville.
Okay.
When it's their turn.
Okay. So for 1 year, they've only got 2 there, but. I mean, it's asinine in so many ways. I mean, it'd be like Ole Miss still playing in Jackson constantly.
It's literally the same thing. So it's stupid.
Yeah, makes no sense. But
by the way, you never responded to the text I sent you. The tweet of Arkansas's baseball.
Oh, I did
facility.
see that. Yeah.
Ole Miss has done something similar with their deal. What I was saying to Chase was, so I was in Fayetteville over the week, and I saw. I didn't drive like into it, but I was over around it. They've very clearly their baseball facility now is. The practice portion of the facility and all that stuff is state of the art, much like Ole Miss's is. And what my point was, boy, if you're one of these schools in the league that has not invested in it to this point, it's too late. You can't catch up.
The two that do at times care, that are in the most trouble because of the scholarship thing too, is Alabama and Auburn. You know, Bama just built this new stadium, but there's no amenity like this. Yeah. It was basically a reimagining of their current stadium is all it was.
To me, Arkansas's facility now, and you've always said this, and it always hits me when I see it. I'm like, hey, he's right. It looks like a really good minor league facility.
Yeah.
And now they've built the practice amenity to it that reminds me, because I used to cover spring training.
Yeah.
It reminds me of spring training homes, like in Peoria and Mesa and stuff. And, man, you combine those 2 things, and that's – unless you're a school like LSU or A&M or Ole Miss or Mississippi State that's invested, it's too late. You can't catch that.
Yeah, Arkansas, and I don't mean it as a negative. I mean it as a positive. They remind me of the best AA game and experience you'll ever deal with.
Yeah.
That's what they are.
Well, that's what they are.
That's what it feels like.
But now they've added that the player amenity to it, which is, woo.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the truth. Like a Carl Lafferty's here in this conversation going, shut up. You know, combine that with some of the scholarship advantages and stuff, and that's – they have a chance to be a power.
I can make the argument. I might not believe it all the way, but because of the scholarship stuff, I can make the argument it's the second best job in the SEC. I could at least.
No, you could.
You might tell me I'm wrong, but I could make the argument where you go, okay, fine, whatever, sure.
Well, no,
have your opinion.
It'd be that or A&M,
Florida.
Because
where you are, you go 60
But Florida
miles
doesn't have the facility stuff.
No, they just built a brand new stadium. Let's see what it looks like.
Yeah. It's interesting
because it's no longer Georgia. They're not in the conversation anymore. Look, Vanderbilt's won. I mean, the hell with it. They're up there.
And then it's those 3 are doing LSU.
Yeah.
If Ole Miss just had a little bit more scholarship help, they'd be right there.
Yeah.
You could make the argument that was the second best, but you can't now.
No.
Because that's a disadvantage.
Now, State's done a lot of scholarship stuff.
Yeah, State's moved up in that regard.
Stuff, frankly, I hadn't talked about a lot because I just don't feel like hearing it right now.
Because you're going to get yelled at.
We'll do it later. Yeah, that's not for today. That's for later, but nonetheless.
But, yeah, he says, like Trent says, Arkansas is an underrated football stadium. I think so too. They've done a lot of work with it. It's nice.
Yeah, look,
it's fine.
Mizzou doesn't care about baseball, so I'm not throwing them in.
No,
they don't count.
Don't care at all.
Kentucky is really, really trying, but I don't count.
Yeah.
I mean, now they built a $45 million stadium, which I kind of look at you and go, why?
Well, if they had known what was coming, they wouldn't have done it.
Yeah. Tennessee, whatever.
Yeah.
Vitello's a hell of a coach, and he'll win a little bit and then leave for somewhere else. That's what's going to happen with Tony Vitello.
Yeah, they don't care enough.
No, he'll be the next coach at wherever. Honestly, I think he stays at Tennessee potentially long enough to replace Van Horn at Arkansas. He told me to guess the next Arkansas head coach. I'm going to say Tony Vitello.
Oh.
I think that's the case. Because I think you win some at Tennessee, and then it kind of goes from there. But nonetheless.
If that job opened up today, they'd be able to go
wherever almost.
They'd be able to pick a lot of people that they want. The only negative to that job is
where you are in in-state talent.
Yeah, where you are.
They're bad on in-state talent.
Yeah, there's not a ton of in-state talent. Now that you can, the scholarship thing helps them overcome a lot of that.
Yeah, but you're still going into other people's territories trying to pluck them.
Sure.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if Arkansas, if I could pick you up and put you in Orlando, then you're the number one job in the world. I mean, yeah. But
yeah, you drop them in suburban Tampa, and this is over.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, they would immediately be.
Yeah.
I mean, they're already a national power, but they would immediately become the best job in the country.
Yeah. Last thing here, Moneybag Ty says, how can Ole Miss fix the scholarship issues?
Yes, Chase. How can they?
They can, unless the university decides to do it on a level. You can't just give it to athletes. You have to give it to everybody. And Ole Miss is historically, stereotypically, Ole Miss's benefit as a university has been a lot of out-of-state students wanting to come to Oxford and willing to pay the money to do that.
Yeah.
If you put in these programs, that no longer becomes as big of an incentive and a positive for Ole Miss. Ole Miss does not have, well, they have the last couple of years, but historically has not had an enrollment problem with out-of-state students. The things that Arkansas and Mississippi State have done are curing out-of-state enrollment issues. It just is what it is.
Arkansas's done, and it's not just for athletes, it's for students.
It's for everybody.
And for baseball, you get a bunch of kids with 24, 25, 26 ACTs.
That's the kickers.
And so you get, if you're in a state that touches Arkansas geographically, and starting with about a 24 ACT, you start getting
out-of-state tuition waivers.
60%, 70%, 80%, 90%, you get these waivers. And so all of a sudden, you're able to go out in baseball and you're able to combine the two scholarships. And so you get a kid from Houston, for example, with the 27 on the ACT, and those kids, that's everywhere in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
He gets 80% of his out-of-state tuition waived, and then he gets a scholarship athletically on one of his part of the 11.7, and all of a sudden, that kid's down to Arkansas and Ole Miss. And when you sit down at the dining room table, it's like, well, at this school, they waived $20,000 in out-of-state tuition, and at this school they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So, woo pig?
Yeah. I can paint this scenario where an Arkansas recruit from Lubbock, Texas, can go to Arkansas cheaper than they go to Texas Tech.
Yeah.
In theory.
Yeah. And so that becomes a problem, and that's to their credit. And what has to alarm Ole Miss fans some is that Mississippi State has begun to do some of the same things.
A lot, yeah.
And it has impacted their recruiting in Birmingham and in Mobile and in Huntsville, Huntsville's a booming area.
The two areas State has really benefited are South Tennessee, like Jackson in that area, and then Alabama.
Yeah.
Those are the two areas that –
Memphis.
Yeah.
Doing really well in Memphis. If you talk to kids who are from Memphis schools, they'll tell you that a lot of their classmates went to State.
Mm-hmm. Another topic for another day. We'll get into that plenty because we will have nothing to talk about a lot of days, and we'll just take kind of a knife in the shoulder and go, all right, today's the day for that. But that's not today. So anyway, Tywone Malone's doing something in about an hour and 13 minutes. That will dictate the attitude on the rebelgrove.com message board the rest of the afternoon, month.
I thought about setting up a live stream at 3 o'clock and just let's see what happens. I still might do it, so We'll see.
Keep an eye out there. We will be back tomorrow night to talk to you then. So have a good day, and we'll talk to you again soon.